Hey everyone! Woo! How are you
Hello.
guys doing? We're dancing ourselves into this
Yes, I
Michael
love
Me
this. This is
episode.
awesome.
Well, guys, I'm so excited to have you here. And I got to tell you, if we're meeting for the first time, my name is Amy Lettingham. I'm a master certified relationship coach, and I love doing these mindful meets because I love helping singles find lasting love by conscious dating. And today I have a special guest because it's all about being mindful, which is, conscious and paying attention. I have a special guest here that's going to talk about 3 tips to make a lasting impression. Now, my special guest and why I'm so excited about him is because he's been on VH1, MTV, Jay Leno. He's helped so many singles out there with his tips, and he's the COO of predating.com. And so his name is Michael Clarke. Welcome, Michael.
Hello. Thank you so much, Amy. I have been excited about this all week to talk to you guys and your audience. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Oh, we are thrilled to have you. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. And guys, I want this to be interactive. So at the end, there's going to be a Q&A so you guys can ask questions. But also, if we're in the middle of talking, you have something that pops up in your head, just type it in the chat over there, and then we'll make sure we respond to it. All right? So thank you. Well, before we get started, though, I always like to know how, with the interesting jobs that we have, how did you get started?
All right. So I started actually in 2006. So it's been a while. I've been here for 12 years. And it's been a journey. We started off as I started off as customer service. And eventually in 2010, we bought the company from Cubic.com. And myself and a few other business partners, Vince Gellermine, Dan Gudima, and Darren Walthall, as well as some Dre Ryan, we said, you know what? We love the idea of meeting people face to face as opposed through online dating. It's just so much better. You know exactly what you're getting, and we love the concept. So we said, let's do it. And we've been rocking and rolling for the last 8 years.
Yeah, and the concept of meeting in person, because you can gauge body language, you can gauge chemistry. I think it's a great idea. I'm an advocate of doing so many different things. Like, I don't think any way is a bad way. I think speed dating not only is awesome for the in-person, but it gives you the ability to practice your skills, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. And so, your 3 tips, I'm excited to talk about them. The first one you said was to dress to impress. Tell me a little bit more about that.
All right. Yeah. So I actually do the events here in Tampa, Florida. So I get to see face to face what people are doing right and what people are doing wrong. So
that's exciting.
Yes. I'm going to talk to the ladies first, and I'm going to talk to the guys. All right. So ladies, your number one thing is don't look at this as you're going to the prom. You want to make sure that you're dressed comfortably and accentuating the features that you want to accentuate. Right.
Yes.
As Coco Chanel once said, accessories, just don't use as many as you think you need, right? Just 1 or 2. So necklace, bracelet, that's fine. Exactly. Look at Amy. She's perfect. Yeah. Like if I was to look at the perfect speed dater, it would be Amy, right? She has a very tasteful outfit on, tasteful makeup, and she has smart accessories. So look at Amy. That's how you should dress for a speed dating event. Guys, I'm going to talk to you now. So men, keep those Hawaiian shirts at home. Right? T-shirts, sweatpants, no go. You want to make a lasting impression. You want your first impression to be the best impression. So button down with a nice pair of jeans, no ripped jeans, but you can wear dark colored jeans, or you can wear black jeans, that's fine as well. And a nice pair of shoes, no sneakers.
Really? No sneakers?
No, unless if they're like fashion sneakers. Like, okay, I'm a big fan
Converse is okay, like cool Chuck Taylors.
Like that would be okay, or I'm a big fan of like the really like nice high tops. I love them, so I wear them all the time, and I think that they're dressed up an outfit. But you don't want to wear your running shoes that you've been running 30 miles in that day. So
you know what? I wish you talked to my husband when I met him, because on the first date, he was wearing those like workout shoes, and I looked at him. I go, "Oh my God, thank God, I'm like very forgiving." I looked at him. I go, "Well, you know what? Everything else is good. I can tweak that."
You can tweak that, yes. The other thing is making sure that you're stylish, like making sure that you are wearing the style of today. You know, if you're having a problem with that, you can go to the department store and there are people that will dress you. You know, they'll look at your size, they'll know exactly what will look good on you and your body type, and they'll dress you. And it's not that expensive. You know, like one outfit is not going to break your budget. And that way you know that you're going to look fantastic, you're going to feel good, you're going to feel confident. And that's the other number one thing, feeling confident. And part of that is being dressed to impress.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, I have a bunch of, if you guys need a stylist, I know great stylists, and they're everywhere, and I can definitely hook you up with them. Trust me. So
listen to Amy.
Listen to me. Trust me. You got to dress to impress. I agree with Michael. And, you know, the other important thing is you said something about being comfortable. I think one of the mistakes I made is going by fads rather than dressing for myself and what made me feel authentic and feel fabulous. So I'd go to the date thinking I would feel awkward because I didn't feel like myself. So it's important that you stay away from fads and really start focusing on what makes you feel good and makes you feel fabulous.
Yeah.
Right, Mike?
Agreed. And, you know, I was actually just watching American Idol the other night.
Yeah.
And there's a girl on there that had a dress on that is like from the 1950s. You know what? She rocked it, you know, and it was like one of those. Yeah, she rocked it because it was her personality, you know, and you could just tell that she was comfortable and her confidence just shined right through, you know. So I agree, Amy.
Yes, absolutely.
Know what you're comfortable in.
I see Kelly Hoffman and Michelle from St. Louis. Hi, guys. Thank you.
Hi.
We're happy to have you here. So tip number 2, this is something I always say too. I think it's so powerful. So you say keep the conversations positive. Tell me more.
Okay. So positivity is one of the strongest elements that you're going to have to your advantage at a speed dating event. All right. So avoid the X. No talking at the X. Just focus on things that you love. Okay. So if I tell this to a lot of people, anytime I have an event, I always enunciate that you want to attract only a few people, not everybody.
Yes.
Okay. You're never going to attract everybody. You're going to attract one person or 2 people, and that's fine. And the good thing is that's more of quality over quantity. So
yes, I agree.
Keep the conversation positive. Keep your stance open as well. So if you're going like this, you know, or like this, you know, you're not going to want to have a conversation with that person, right? So keep it very light, easy. Talk about your interests. See if that person has similar interests. If they do, that's wonderful. Mark them as a yes, you know?
You know, it's so cool. Kelly just said, don't ever vent and complain about anything on the first date or second or most of the time. I agree.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing, Michael, I talk to a lot of singles, and when I ask them what they're looking for, you know what they say?
What?
They talk about all the things that they don't want.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that all the time myself. I'm like, what are you looking for? You know, not what you don't want.
So that's the thing, guys and girls. Focus on what you do want. Focus on the positive things and talk about positive things. You know, people gravitate to happy people, like attracts like. So if you're going down the path where you're just complaining and you get in a relationship with someone that is okay with that, they're probably a complainer too. You're probably not going to have a great relationship if you're both unhappy. So focus on being happy. All right. Thank you. That's a great tip. Oh, and I love this next tip. Oh, yes. You say, tip number 3 is speak to someone like they are a new friend. Tell me more.
Okay. So I tell everybody, don't look at it as speed dating. Think of it as speed friending. Okay. I've always had the, right? Yeah. So I've always had the belief that the best relationships are friendships on fire.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. So you have to develop a friendship first before you can develop any kind of romantic relationship. All right. So why not speak to them as a friend? avoid the whole interview. I'm sure we've all been on a date where the person's interviewing us and you're just like, where am I? I'm not at a job interview, I'm on a date. Make the
Yes.
person feel comfortable and just talk about your interests. Listen to them. You talk, they talk. Leave the interview questions at home. Don't be overly prepared. Just come with an open mind and an open heart, and you're
Yes.
going to do well.
Absolutely. I actually agree. I do have my clients do make a non-negotiables list. They should know what their deal breakers are before they go in, because that way they can weed people out. But on that first meeting, I call it a meeting. It's not a date, because you're literally meeting to gauge to see if there's any chemistry, enough interest. Keep it simple. Don't do a job interview at all, but more so gauge to see if there's enough chemistry to go to an actual first date.
Exactly.
So to me, it's
Exactly.
a meeting, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. The best things that start with a friendship first is much more longer lasting than, going in with the intention, I got to get married. I got to find, my spouse with right now. It creates such a energy of desperation, and it doesn't allow you to show up authentic. And that's what we want, right? For them to like your authentic self.
Exactly.
So take the pressure off, 100%. So we're going to actually open up for questions now, because I know you guys have questions for Michael and myself. So do you guys have any questions about speed dating? And personally, I've never done speed dating, Michael. So I'm actually curious on how it works. So could you share a little bit about that too?
Absolutely. So you just go right to our website, which is www.freedating.com. You find an event in your city that you want to sign up for. We do age groups, usually about 10 to 20 year age variance. As we go to the 40s and 50s age groups, we tend to expand that a little bit more. When we're on the younger side, we tend to do between a 10 and 12 year age variance for most of our events. Once you sign up, then we send you an email with all the details on how to get to the venue. We are the most detail-oriented company I've ever worked with, and that took a lot to get used to.
I love how detail-oriented you guys are. You're such professionals.
Yeah. So you'll typically receive a call or a text from one of our event coordinators, whoever your event coordinator is in your city, the day before the event to remind you about the event. And once you show up to the event, we tell you, okay, let's say you're number one, Amy.
Yes.
So you're going to sit at table number one, and ladies, you get to sit down and relax all night long. The men are the ones coming to you, as it should be, right?
Yeah. So, I love that. Keep them coming.
That's right. That's right. Keep them coming. That's right. So every 6 minutes, we ring a bell, and the guys move to the next table up. Okay? You have a form in front of you that lets us know who you like. So you basically put down your information on the top, and then below that, you write down each person's name and let's talk or no thanks. After the event, our coordinator just collects that piece of paper from you, and we have your results by noon the next day. So you'll get an email from us with anybody that said yes to you with their first name and email address, so you can contact them. We don't give out last names or phone numbers for anonymity purposes. So.
Oh, cool. So that actually really saves them from keeping them safe and their information secure. That's a great way of doing things. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We understand that, a majority, and I'm sure you know this, a majority of women are scared that they're going to meet, a crazy person at an event or on a real date,
Yeah.
And we understand that. So we want to make sure that, that your information is protected. After this, speed dating event, we always recommend to do a coffee date, like low investment of time, low investment on money, just to go out, meet them outside of the element of a event.
Yes.
And you can spend as short of a time or as long of a time as you want with that person at that point. You can finish up your coffee and be like, okay, I'm good, I'm done. Or you can get a second cup of coffee or tea or whatever, and just keep having fun.
Yeah, I actually think that's the tip I always give the singles I work with, is to go have coffee, because there's no pressure. And if it doesn't work out, it's a short amount of time that you can leave. And, again, it's a meeting. So that's a great way to set things up. Kelly had a question here. She said, do you include people in events by any sort of age group, preference category?
Yes. So we do have age groups. Every single event has a specific age group. We do allow for a 5-year age variance for each one of those. So if you're slightly above and you want to date somebody a little bit younger, or if you're slightly younger and you want to date a little bit older, that's fine. We do allow for a 5-year age variance for all of our events. We also do specific events depending on the market. So some markets have all singles, which encompasses everybody. And then we have other ones that are very specific. So we might have an LGBT event. We might have a, an African-American event or an Asian American event. It really depends on the market. And if you're looking for something specific, I implore you to contact the local event coordinator and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Is there any interest in this market for doing something like that? Because we don't know unless if we get questions about it.
And you guys are nationwide, so it doesn't matter where you live, you'll be able to find one of Michael's events, right?
Correct. We're in every major city of the U.S., and we are trying to get into Canada as well. So.
Oh my gosh, I love what Emily just wrote. She wrote, I've been to one of Michael's events. They are so fun, regardless the outcome. That's number one. That's
a great awesome.
And number
Thank
two,
you, Emily.
compliment.
Thank you.
So we're gonna, guys, we're here right now. Ask us questions. If you have anything on your mind with dating, anything that you have around speed dating you want to ask, it is your chance to lay that question out. So please do type in the comments and ask your question. We'll wait for a few minutes before we actually end the broadcast. But Michael, I got to tell you, I'm so glad that we connected. I'm so glad that you're doing what you do. I think everyone deserves an amazing relationship. And I think what you do is outstanding because of the fact that you bring a community together. And there's a lot of singles out there that feel really lonely and they don't get out very much. And so what you do really brings that together. And I just want to say thank you so much for what you do. And it looks like we're not going to get any more questions. So you guys can still leave comments later. Michael and I will answer them either way later. But thank you so much for joining me today for Mindful Meets and Meetups. And I know we're going to be doing something, a webinar in May or June 1st, right? Or
I believe it's
June 2nd. I think June 2nd.
I have to double check that date, but I believe yes.
We're going to be doing something together, so I'll keep you guys posted. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll dance out. We'll do a dance out and say bye to everyone. So bye.
Bye, everyone.